listening to Race Day Live on Downforce UK, brought to you by Clapham North MOT, Motorsport Days Live, Stopwatch Hospitality, and Trade Price Cars.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the action here at Fulbeck. It is time once again for the cadets here for the 2018 BIRELART UK Series Round 3 of this 2018 championship. It is a beautiful day here at Fulbeck Circuit and we have already had one fantastic heat in each of our three classes, starting with the cadets. And the last time it was Ella Stevens versus Nathan Ty all the way to the finish line, and it ended with number 1 in front of number 5, Ella Stevens gaining her second victory of the 2018 season. And now we will quest once again for the victory dais with some fantastic battles so far. Only 3 drivers have won races in the 2018 season thus far in the first 7 races of the 2018 campaign. Ella Stevens, Nathan Ty and Oakley Keatley. 3 for Ty and 2 each for Keatley and Stevens. Now we continue on in the hope that we're going to have yet another fantastic battle here at this absolutely spectacular Fulbeck circuit. And then Jamie Scott from Lily Jeffs, Josh Turnbull, Hudson Cross and Jake Bell, as now Oakley Keatley is working with Jamie Gurney to move him further forward as they battle away for the victory once again. Ella Stevens and Nathan Ty squabbling for the lead. Jamie Gurney's got Oakley Keatley coming with him. Keatley's going to try and make the move for third position early on. Gurney trying to squeeze him and he's through! Oakley Keatley in a P3. Great start then from Keatley as he gets himself back to where he wanted to be, the top 3. Really good start from Keatley as he puts himself now into third place. It's Stevens in the lead, Ty second, Keatley third. Then it is Gurney, Humphreys and Hassan as they run down the back straight once again. Gurney now taking a lot of pressure from Charlie Humphreys as they go left, right, left over the chicane in the second part of the lap. And Humphreys is immediately getting stuck in there on Gurney, trying to make the move for fourth place, has to hang back. And now Aidan Hassan's got a chance. Humphreys defends to the inside at turn 9. Hassan's got a good run. Meanwhile, the rookie battle is ever strong as Ali Hussein holds on in front of Archie Heron and Craig Evans. Great run for the rookies as they continue to charge. The leading 6 have broken clear, making it 2 different races in the same grid. Hussein leading the charge for the rookies in front of Heron and Evans. Then it is Jamie Scott from Lily Jeffs, Josh Turnbull and Hudson Cross, with Jack Bell still getting up to speed. But there's an absolutely terrific scrap as Heron holds off Craig Evans for the top rookie spot. Still Ali Hussein in front of both of them, but Evans sweeps through the hairpin. And it looks like Evans is through into second of the rookies. Meanwhile, it's still Stevens and Ty for the ultimate lead of the race. Keatley trying to close on them both. Gurney in 4th, Humphreys in 5th and Hassan in 6th. Great battles, great racing and a really good start to the weekend as Evans now goes for the inside of Heron. There's a little touch between them, but Evans can't get by Heron. Terrific scrapping amongst the rookies as now we've got Ali Hussein leading the way. Archie Heron and Craig Evans battling up. Then we've got Jamie Scott, Lily Jeffs and Josh Turnbull scrapping with Hudson Cross and Jake Bell closing up. Craig Evans getting very racy on the back of Archie Heron, but Ali Hussein is getting out in front of the rookies. He's pulling away. Great to see what is effectively 2 races in one field here as we have the race for the overall victory and then we have the rookie scrap. The leading 6 have broken clear. Ella Stevens and Nathan Ty still battling for the win with Oakley Keatley in 3rd position, 4th and 5th, Gurney and Humphreys. Hassan close back in 6th. A bit of a mistake there from Gurney as he gets it slightly wrong through the chicane and now Charlie Humphreys is right behind him. Is Humphreys going to make the move? Into 4th place, he leaves it late and can't make the move. So he slots back into 5th position. Still chasing after him is Aidan Hassan as he tries to make another good move. Stevens and Ty still battle for the win up front. Keatley 3rd. Gurney, Humphreys and Hassan all squabbling over 4th place. A really strong race battle from these guys now as we've got Ali Hussein, Archie Heron and Craig Evans scrapping for the rookie victory with Lily Jeffs now at the front of the group behind Jamie Scott and Josh Turnbull. Josh Turnbull really getting his elbows out now into the battle and has made up some big ground in this one, taking on Jamie Scott for 5th of the rookies. This is a much better run. Hudson Cross catching them all as well, so Hudson Cross is gaining some ground. Here come the leaders once again towards us and going through turn 8, through the square left as Nathan Ty chases after Ella Stevens once more. Some terrific battles between them as they run through. Charlie Humphreys still hangs on valiantly to 4th place in front of Jamie Gurney and Aidan Hassan. A great trio of racers battling for 4th place just outside the podium. Because if anything happens to the guys up front, they know that there's a chance they could be on the podium, so they've got to keep pushing. Meanwhile, the rookie's still having a great run. Ali Hussein is leading, but now Craig Evans is working with Archie Heron to close up on the 86. Hussein go quick look over his shoulder to see how close Heron and Evans are. Then it's Jeffs, Scott, Turnbull and Hudson Cross with Jake Bell still going good. But Ellis Stevens and Nathan Tye continue their battle from earlier on with 5:15 on the clock. As they continue to scrap away for position, it's getting very racy indeed for fourth position behind Oakley Keatley. Keatley comes through, and then we've got Humphrey, Gurney and Hassan all together, those three. As they go up to the top hairpin, that's Stevens and Tye going through. Then Keatley, and then these three, Humphreys, Gurney and Hassan. A sensational battle for the race victory. In the rookies, it's close too. Hussein is having to succumb to massive pressure from Archie Heron and Craig Evans at the moment. Those three battling for the rookie honours. And a great tussle between the three of them as now Evans gets a little closer to Heron on the way out of the second apex. So Evans is really jogging on the pace here on the back of Archie Heron and Ali Hussein. Still a good battle between Jeffs and Jamie Scott. Lily Jeffs and Jamie Scott still racing very well there on the main straight. But Ellis Stevens and Nathan Tye are just not being caught by Oakley Keatley at the moment. On a fresh restart, Keatley might be able to jump them both and get into the lead, but the gap between these two is just too big. Nathan Tye just sitting tight in position and waiting for a moment to pounce on Ellis Stevens as the number one reigning champion holds on to the lead at the moment. Nathan Tye in second position, right underneath the number one. Down the main straight, and there's a bit of a black and white flag come out there. I'm not sure who that's for, but there's a penalty handed out. Now I'm not sure who that's gone to. I've not got any signals in front of me here who's got the black and white flag, but there's definitely a black and white flag gone out on the main straight on that lap. I'm trying to see who it was that was given it, and unfortunately I'm not seeing who it was, so difficulty there unfortunately. I'll try and keep up to date with it. If there is a penalty handed out and it's a time penalty, then obviously that is going to be very detrimental to the ebb and flow of the race, but we'll try and stay on top of it. At the moment, certainly on the road, it's no change, but we've still got Humphreys, Gurney and Hassan having a terrific squabble over fourth place as they continue to battle away. Archie Heron has now hit the front of the rookies battle with Craig Evans in behind him and Ali Hussein in third place of the mix. Evans now going for the lead into the chicane. That's brave if he makes that happen. It doesn't work, so he's got to hang back and wait for another chance. But Heron, Evans and Ali Hussein all squabbling for the rookie honours here. Lily Jeffs has got herself a little bit of a gap over Jamie Scott. And then we have Josh Turnbull and Hudson Cross with Jake Bell about to be lapped by the race leaders, this time by the blue flags wave. So Jake Bell is hoping to get out of the way of these two as Stevens and Tye lap Jake Bell. He gets out of the way, no problem. So now Ellis Stevens and Nathan Tye continue their run for the victory as they continue to battle away. Ellis Stevens hanging on to the lead here. Nathan Tye in second, very close indeed. Less than a cart length between the two of them. Keatley still there in third. Gurney hanging on in front of Aidan Hassan. Charlie Humphreys in fourth place, still going well. As Jamie Scott looks for a move on Lily Scott into turn 8. Lily Jeffs, sorry. Jamie Scott gets a move on Lily Jeffs and doesn't quite make it stick. Look at the battle for the victory in the rookies. Archie Heron's got Ali Hussein on the inside. Hussein drifts wide and Evans gets through in a second of the rookies. Now Evans is having a crack at Archie Heron. A great race between the rookies now. They are completely overshadowing the leaders at this point. Terrific racing. Keatley through in third position on Jake Bell. Humphreys, Gurney and Hassan likewise. No change there. But with a minute and a half on the clock, it's still Stevens versus Tye as they continue to tick down laps. Stevens working hard at the front. Nathan Tye in second place, just chasing her down. Oakley Keatley in third. Humphreys, Gurney and Hassan. And this amazing titanic scrap for the leading rookie as Ali Hussein gets a good run off the turn and gets alongside Archie Heron. He puts himself on the inside and Hussein takes the place back. Hussein in the seventh place once again. It's going to be one of these three who gets it. Heron goes to the inside line. Evans is going to get a good run in down the main straight. Terrific squabble between the rookies. Completely upstaging the leaders out in the front of the race. Stevens and Ty have yet to jockey for position. They'll do so in the last couple of laps for certain. But the rookies are having an absolutely terrific run. They continue to battle. This is a good run. Humphreys, Gurney and Hassan still settling over fourth. The last few seconds of the race here are going to come through this time by. 25 seconds to go. And now Ella Stevens will go into defensive mode from Nathan Ty. The rookie battle is still very intense. It's Ali Hussein in front of Craig Evans and Archie Heron in their squabble for 7th place. And the first one of those home is the first rookie home. Lily Jeffs is currently 10th. Then it is Jamie Scott and Josh Turnbull ahead of Hudson Cross and Jake Bell. Hudson Cross is doing his best, but he seems to be losing some time now. The time has ticked down to nothing. So this is the penultimate lap. Ella Stevens and Nathan Ty coming down the short stretch up towards the complex as Nathan Ty looks to try and find a way through on Ella Stevens. Looks for a good exit out of the complex. This could be a good opportunity. Trying to get right in there behind Ella Stevens, but there's a gap that's opened up. So into the last lap. Ella Stevens has got a bit of a gap over Nathan Ty. That could be enough to seal it. But there's still a hard charge for the rookies. And Aidan Hassan's got very close to Jamie Gurney as well. But Ali Hussein is leading Craig Evans in the fight for the rookie honours here. 7th position is up for grabs. And whichever one of them crosses the line first will be the first rookie home in what's already been a pretty sensational battle. Nathan Ty has not given up on Ella Stevens. He's going to try and close down the gap once more. But it looks like it could be 2 out of 2 at Fulbeck for Ella Stevens as they come up to lap Hudson Cross. Ella Stevens is through. Nathan Ty is not. Now Nathan Ty is through, but surely that's enough now. Ella Stevens is going to get the victory. A beautiful battle between them, but unfortunately Nathan Ty's chance never really able to come up to scratch as Ella Stevens comes through to make it 2 out of 2. Great result for the number 1. Her 3rd win of the season now to go level with Nathan Ty. So Ella Stevens wins from Nathan Ty, and in 3rd place, once again, Oakley Keatley charging back. Charlie Humphreys, Jamie Gurney and Aidan Hassan finishing that order. But what about the rookies? Ali Hussein looks like he's going to get there. In front of Craig Evans, they're going to lap Jake Bell. But importantly for Ali Hussein, it's going to be the first time this year he's come through as the leading rookie. Ali Hussein has done it. Great result for Ali Hussein. He is the lead rookie home. Oh, wonderful result. Great to see those 2 races unfold together. But Ella Stevens now lines up on pole position for the final, makes it 2 out of 2, and now not far away from the hat-trick. A brilliant bit of racing there for the cadets, but importantly in the development of the youngsters, it's the first rookie win for Ali Hussein after a brilliant drive. He totally and utterly deserves that after a great scrap, and Dad is sprinting back to the pit to congratulate his son after an amazing run. Daddy Hussein very happy indeed. But Ali Hussein has done an absolutely stonking job. We knew it wasn't going to be long before Ali Hussein took it to the victory. And look at him, he's absolutely delighted. And he's got every reason to be so. A sensational result and a new rookie winner at the top step. That's a very good result for Ali Hussein. And that sets him up for a great charge for the final. And we could well see a new face on the top of the podium as the leading rookie home. And there is Daddy Hussein. He's made it to Ali. What about that? Lifting him up with joy in the pits. That's a great sight. And what a race from Ali Hussein. It's always great when a rookie really steps up to the pitch and makes an amazing play. That was so beautifully done. A tough race there with Archie Heron and Craig Evans right to the flag. But Ali Hussein, a winner in the rookie class. He'll be very happy with that, and so richly deserved. Terrific stuff. That's what I love about cadets. You've got 2 races in one in this category. You've got the established guard at the front, and you've got the rookies in the midfield. And it's great to see the rookies really step up their game, as the rookies have done so this time. So some really magnificent performances then from our rookies. They've done a fantastic job here this weekend, and it just looks as though it's just going to keep getting better and better for them. So that is the cadets done for the moment. They will be back, of course, for their final a little later on. But now we move on to the juniors, and their pre-final is going to be another spectacular race. They've had an absolutely terrific run thus far, and it's not clear who is going to win the final, although of course in the previous heat we saw a really great charge from Harry Graham to get clear of Dylan Reed and take a very convincing victory. But there's some very top performances from the drivers further back. A good run from Scott Huntley. Callum Gunning fighting his way back up to 4th position after initially losing some early ground. And I have to say there was some great race action from Sam Cunliffe and Tom Davison in that one as well. They really put on a good show, and great to see them very firmly and very deliberately in the top 6 as they race for supremacy. Really good to see them in a good performance and a good position. They deserve to get there, and they fought for it. So there's still some great racing to be had, and we'll get some good quality racing from these guys as they continue to push on for a great victory. We are live here at Fulbeck on Downforce UK once again. We've had a very good season from the BIRELART UK Series Juniors thus far. For those tuning in for the first time, it's all about seeing how many victories Harry Graham can take off Callum Gunning this weekend. Gunning having won 5 out of 6 before we got here, and Graham now has won his 2nd race victory of the season. So now it's about seeing if he can get any more. He's had a great start to the season with 2 wins to really boost the confidence and really push him further forward. But there's several drivers who can win in this particular battle, so there's a long way to go still this weekend for these 2 races. 10 minutes on the clock, plus 1 lap, and we've got ourselves a battle. The drivers continue to get themselves dialed in. We've got some pretty sensational racing to come. Apologies for the signal down in the pits. I know it's a little bit choppy, but fortunately via the Downforce UK live stream it's still pretty much spot on. So those of you who are struggling to hear it trackside can listen back to it on the way home if you choose to. So that is all fine and dandy. But the juniors are going to have us an amazing squabble here with the 20 drivers battling away for position. We're also going to have an interesting squabble over the top rookie spot in the juniors. It's still been a race-long battle, season-long battle too, between Lewis Berry and Alicia Palmowski. Berry taking a win off Palmowski that time, just as he did in the final at Clay Pigeon. So it was always going to be a very difficult one for those two to be separated, but they were always going to have a tough battle. On this occasion, it ended up being Lewis Berry getting there first. As the drivers continue to battle away, we'll have a really exciting squabble between them. The racing is definitely going to be intense in the juniors as the 2 of them continue to battle away for supremacy. But at the front of the field, it is still going to be very close indeed between Harry Graham and Dylan Reed at the sharp end. A good battle too set to come from the 2nd row of the grid with Scott Huntley and Callum Gunning. Sam Cunliffe and Tom Davison in that top 6 as well. We saw some great battling in the juniors heat early on, and now we'll see how they go to battle in the pre-final. Cracking racing always expected from these guys, and no doubt this junior pre-final is going to be just as good.
Hi, I'm Joe Ingham and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Jacques Villeneuve, you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Bruno Senna, you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Chris Hoy and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Landon Norris and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
You're listening to Race Day Live on Downforce UK, brought to you by Clapham North MOT, Motorsport Days Live, Stopwatch Hospitality, and Trade Price Cars.
Junior pre-final is next up here at Fulbeck as we get ourselves racing for another 10 minutes of action plus 1 lap in the junior pre-final with Harry Graham riding high after a very strong run in the first race. 3 different pole sitters from the first 3 meetings of the season though. Joe Shippey at Landau. Last time out at Clay Pigeon it was of course Harry Graham, and this time Dylan Reed getting pole position. So it was always going to be a tough one as they continue to battle away for a good performance, but it's never done and dusted, and they know it. They're going to have to work very hard indeed to make sure that the battle continues at their best possible performance. So it is going to be an interesting one for these guys as they continue to battle away, and they will have a great race here on the Fulbeck circuit. They're just waiting for the time to come along, and then Megan will blow the whistle and raise the green flag at the end of the pits to signal the drivers will go out onto the circuit for their rolling lap, and then it will be 10 minutes plus 1 lap of the Fulbeck circuit here in Lincolnshire on what is an absolutely gorgeous day. Complete and utter contrast compared to 24 hours ago when we were practically swimming our way back to our camper vans and hotels. But now it is a very, very different battle for the drivers as they continue to run away for supremacy in the junior battle. We're going to have an absolutely terrific run for these guys as they continue to battle for a top spot in the junior pre-final. So as the drivers get themselves ready for the action, we're just sorting out the PA microphones here at Fulbeck. It's been a little bit of an awkward one because the batteries have decided to be a little bit dead. For all those of you listening via Downforce UK, wherever you are around the world, it's been a really sensational start to the weekend. Any messages of goodwill and good luck you want to send to your fellow drivers, wherever you might be listening, as far-flung as New Zealand for the Friday clan, or even the Valverdes, who always tune in from Canada, wherever it might be you are around the world, or even, of course, here in Great Britain, do please send us your messages via Spreaker on the chat box, and we will get those messages across to those people that you are cheering and supporting. You can also follow the live timing, of course, via alphatiming.co.uk, live and as it happens here from Fulbeck. And all of the races as they happen, of course, are available to listen back. So for anybody who's wanting to hear it back again can do so. So hopefully that's going to be a lot better. I think the signal is going to be absolutely fine and dandy for the pit gates once again now. Thanks, Andy Cox, for a quick re-energise. A shame you didn't do the rabbit impression, though. I'm a bit disappointed. Banging the drum, you know. Keeps going and going and going. No, he doesn't. He likes to relax every now and then. So the battle is going to be a very interesting one in the junior brigade with Harry Graham and Dylan Reid on that front row of the grid as the temperature raises to about 22 degrees Celsius about now as I was looking at the pit office here a little bit earlier on. So it's a very hot day in the office. Patchy cloud, but not enough to bring in a cool breeze. So it's going to be a very difficult race for these guys as the heat intensifies. The circuit will get hotter, and it's going to really cook the tyres. It really does here at Fulbeck because, of course, as we were mentioning, that ancient historical airfield base that used to be on this particular racetrack, obviously there's concrete 4 centimetres down from this tarmac, and that obviously means that the heat really likes to bake the circuit to a crisp, and that does the tyres absolutely no good at all. So you have to be very, very careful how you balance the tyres and how you work them over the course of a session. It's not so bad for the cadets, but it's really bad for the juniors and the elites. Here they come out onto the circuit then. Will come the juniors for their pre-final. The engines rise as they get the whistle, and then a green flag will drop at the end of the pits. And when Megan sends them out, we will be able to go racing for the junior pre-final. There is the flag, and they come out on their rolling laps. So it's Harry Graham and Dylan Reid who will lead them round on these 2 formation laps around the BIRELART UK circuit. Fulbeck. Third round of the championship. We've had Randall, we've had Pigeon, and then of course we're here at Fulbeck for the third round. The championship continues up to this point with 2 weekends' time heading over to Wilton Mill to finish our 4-week BIRELART UK tour. And then of course we have an amazing run at Glanigorse Park for the 5th round of the championship in July. That's when we're really all going to need ice creams and sun hats. And then of course the first weekend of September we head to my local joint, which is Hooton Park in Merseyside, just down the road from Chester. And then of course we have our last 2 rounds of the championship, Jennington, the Monza of British karting, and we finish off at Wilton Mill in Northamptonshire once again. So it's been terrific racing for the drivers ahead of us here. Having seen that first heat, it's going to be a very tight one once again. And we're not entirely sure who's going to get the victory. They go round again for their second formation lap. And so now we'll get a real indication as to what these guys can do. But the juniors are ready for battle. They are ready to have a great run. And we'll see some pretty spectacular battles from them because they genuinely do have an awful lot to give around this circuit. There's tough battles, there's great action, and very, very tight running between these guys. The level of competition is incredibly high. And in qualifying, we've seen so many shuffles of the deck in each of the sessions from the first 3 rounds of the championship. It's been great. Harry Graham and Dylan Reed, Scott Huntley and Callum Gunning, Sam Cunliffe and Tom Davison, Nicky Taylor and Tom Harvey, Toby Baldry and Morgan Cole. And then we have Zach Parkinson alongside Ben Gartside, Joe Sheppy in there alongside Jack Rigg. And then it's Connor Brown, Dylan Briley, Lewis Berry, Louis Ross and Alicia Parmowski. Looks like we've got one who's not going to be taking up the start of this race. I'm not entirely sure who that is, but there certainly seems to be a grid spot missing. So I'm not sure if there's been particular damage to one of the drivers, but it looks as though there's a grid spot missing. But anyway, we'll see how that goes as we go up to the grid, and away we go racing. The time starts ticking down, and we are off and away into that first corner straight away. Dylan Reed has got through past Harry Graham into the lead of the race, and this time it is a cleaner start in the juniors. They get away all the way down to turn 4, the hairpin, and it is Dylan Reed battling away for the lead of this race. He has got through past Harry Graham. In there as well to third position has come Callum Gunning and Scott Huntley. Sam Cunliffe and Tom Davison come next. Then it is Tom Harvey through to 7th place in front of Baldry, Cole and Joe Sheppy. So Nicky Taylor's had a terrible start. He is now down behind. Make that in front of Zach Parkinson. He makes the move to get through and now tucks in behind Ben Gartside, the 93. So he's going to try his best to move forward, but it's Reed, Graham, Gunning, Huntley, Cunliffe, Davison, Harvey, Baldry, Cole, Sheppy, Gartside and Nicky Taylor. Now Nicky Taylor's going to make his move on Ben Gartside into the first chicane, doesn't make it, has to hang back in the end. Absolutely brilliant start by Dylan Reed to get himself into first position there at the first chicane, and has worked his way through very closely. Now they come down the back straight into the S's, left, right, left on the curve again, and that's beautifully done from Reed. It's got Graham and Gunning chasing down his neck. Huntley and Cunliffe are in there, then Davison, Harvey and Baldry, Morgan Cole, Sheppy, Gartside, Taylor, Whitehouse, then it is Parkinson in front of Rigg, Brown and Parmowski, Louis Ross, Lewis Berry and Dylan Briley all in the mix. That's some great racing already as Callum Gunning tries to get his way back up to second place. But Dylan Reed and Harry Graham are having a great battle. Here comes Nicky Taylor. Now that's a good move there from Ben Gartside as he gets a move on the inside of Joe Sheppy. Nicky Taylor was going to try and make the same move and wasn't able to do so because there was already an overtaking move happening up the road in front of him. So really impressive start to this race. But out in front, it is still Dylan Reed ahead of Harry Graham. Third place, that is your man Callum Gunning. Scott Huntley, Sam Cunliffe and Tom Davison from Harvey, Baldry and Morgan Cole. Then a bit of a gap back, and it's Gartside from Nicky Taylor, Sheppy and Whitehouse. Another gap, then it's Rigg, Brown and Parmowski with Ross, Berry, Zach Parkinson and Dylan Briley. So Dylan Reed and Harry Graham have got a bit of a gap over Gunning, Huntley and Cunliffe, and they are trying to stretch out the gap. Now, Taylor is going to try and make the move on Joe Sheppy this time, has to hang back and wait for his moment to come through. So Nicky Taylor really struggling to make progress there on the back of Joe Sheppy. But Dylan Reed and Harry Graham have still got the lead of this race as they continue to charge forward into the S's once again. 5, 6, 7 on the run up to turn 8 now, the square left. Dylan Reed and Harry Graham trying to charge away. Callum Gunning under some really big pressure from Scott Huntley and Sam Cunliffe. They're trying to work together to close up on the leading two. From Davison's got Tom Harvey and Toby Baldry for company as they continue to battle away. Well, Dylan Reed and Harry Graham are still running a great race. But on the far side now, Harry Graham's going to make the move on the inside of Dylan Reed. He does not get through. Harry Graham holds it firm there in second place in the end, but that's definitely given Dylan Reed a bit of a challenge. So Harry Graham has got to try again on Dylan Reed, but that was a very close charge to come through. Now he is leading. Harry Graham has got through on Dylan Reed into turn 4, so Harry Graham is your leader. Dylan Reed in second as they come up towards the left-hander at turn 8. So now Harry Graham and Dylan Reed trying to stretch away from Gunning, Huntley and Cunliffe. Here comes Tom Harvey up the inside of Tom Davison for B6 and he's through. Now tries to cut back to stop him coming back through. But Tom Harvey through to B6 from Davison and Baldry. Then it's Morgan Cole and a little gap back for 10th position. That is Gartside battling away with Nicky Taylor. 12th is Sheppy. Then Whitehouse, Rigg, Brown, Parmowski, Ross, Berry, and at the back we've got Parkinson and Briley really struggling for pace. But up at the front, Harry Graham is looking to make it 3 in a row and 2 out of 2 this weekend. So Harry Graham going for a hat-trick. Looking like he's now absolutely found the winning formula and is never going to give away another victory at the way things currently stand. Graham and Dylan Reid battling away. Third is Gunning, fourth is Huntley, fifth is Cunliffe, then it is Harvey, Davison, Baldry and Cole. A great little scrap for sixth position between these four, and they've all got a really good card to play in this one. Nicky Taylor still stuck behind Ben Gartside, can't really get past. So Nicky Taylor doing his best, but ultimately being stopped by Gartside. Similar story for George Whitehouse. It looks like he could have made a move on Joe Shepley, but just hasn't quite been able to get the undercut to make that happen. So it's still a very tough run for those two as they continue to battle, and it is going to be very close. But Graham leads Reid, Gunning leads Huntley and Cunliffe, and then there's a four-way scrap for sixth position, led by Tom Harvey, with Davison, Baldry and Cole giving chase. 10th and 11th are Gartside and Taylor together. 12th and 13th are Sheppey and Whitehouse together. 14th and 15th are Rigg and Brown together. Then it's Malmowski, Ross and Berry. And then a gap back to Parkinson and another big gap back to Dylan Brierley. Great racing, great battles, and still no major lunge for the lead from Dylan Reid as he tries to make himself back in the first place on Harry Graham. But Graham is leading for the second race in a row. Stevens has got 2 out of 2 in the cadets. Can Graham get 2 out of 2 in the juniors? We'll find out because we're getting to that point now as Harry Graham once again holds firm into the second chicane. 5, 6 and 7, he goes through those corners, no problem at all. Still with a bit of a gap to Dylan Reid. Now he's starting to stretch away. He's controlled the pace of the tyres and now he's got a bit of a gap between himself and Dylan Reid as he starts to charge forward. Harry Graham is in his element right now. A hat-trick looking very good for Harry Graham at the moment as they come out of the final turn. And Graham looking good. Dylan Reid in second. Third is Callum Gunning. Fourth position is still Scott Huntley, although losing ground now a little bit as they continue to charge forward. But some terrific racing at the front end of the field as Graham and Reid have started to pull clear. Gunning is still there in third position. Huntley's now trying to defend for fourth position as up the inside goes Sam Cunliffe. Cunliffe gets the move on Huntley, up at a P4. So Sam Cunliffe has got through and is now fourth position, looking to start from the second row of the final. So Graham, Reid, Gunning, Cunliffe, Huntley, Harvey, Baldry and Davison. And then it is Cole and Gartside with Nicky Taylor in 11th place from Whitehouse, who has now finally got past Joe Sheppey, and Jack Rigg and Connor Brown still squabbling over their positions. Now Louis Ross has made the move on Alicia Palmowski and Lewis Berry to lead them to their rookie squabble. But with 2 minutes and 48 on the clock plus 1 lap, it is looking ever more difficult for Dylan Reid to beat Harry Graham in a straight fight. It looks as though these two are going to be battling for every race this weekend. And with one more to come, of course, that's going to make things particularly interesting. But Harry Graham and Dylan Reid out in front, having a really good battle in the early stages. So Graham and Reid gunning in third position. Nicky Taylor's going to make the move on the inside of Gartside, and he gets there for P10. So Taylor has got through on Ben Gartside at long last. He made the move there into turn 9, no hairpin, and he made it absolutely perfectly done. So Taylor now in the 10th place, chasing after Morgan Cole in P9. And in front of him, that looks like Tom Davison. Has Davison lost the place and dropped down into 8th position? We'll double check as they come through. But it's Graham and Reid. No arguments about that one. Callum Gunning still in third. 4th is Cunliffe, as we know. Huntley is 5th. 6th is Harvey. Yes, 7th is Baldry. Ahead of Davison, Cole and Nicky Taylor. Then in 11th place is the man Ben Gartside, 93, trying to find his way forward. Then it is Whitehouse, Sheppey, Rigg and Connor Brown with Ross, Palmowski and Berry. And then Dylan Brierley trying to make up ground. But with 1 minute 30 plus 1 lap on the board, Harry Graham looks set for another victory here. Nicky Taylor, meanwhile, has caught up to the back of Morgan Cole. Taylor's going to go for it on Morgan Cole. There's not a lot that Cole can do about it, except slot in behind Nicky Taylor. So Nicky Taylor is now up into 9th position. A good move there from Taylor into the first chicane to move up another place. Harry Graham and Dylan Reid still 1 and 2, but Sam Cunliffe has caught up to Callum Gunning, and now it's going to be a battle between those two for third position. Gunning does not have that same superior speed that he had in the first 2 rounds of the championship, so now Sam Cunliffe is closing up on him to try and move up into third place. We'll have to see how well it works out, but Callum Gunning is under some severe pressure now from Sam Cunliffe. Scott Huntley's right there to bounce if needed. Harvey, Baldry, and then Tom Davison and Nicky Taylor into the final 35 seconds or so of the race. But then, of course, we've got the lap to add on to that. So Graham from Reed, no change in the leading two. But Sam Cunliffe is definitely giving some pressure to third place man Callum Gunning. And now trying to make the move on the inside. Cunliffe is sent to the outside by Callum Gunning. And now Scott Huntley's got a chance to close up. Third position is going to be very close. And Sam Cunliffe's going to need to commit here to keep Callum Gunning at bay. But Gunning in third place has got Cunliffe all over the back of him. Gunning holds third. Cunliffe and Huntley very close. But for Graham, it is the last lap. Harry Graham and Dylan Reid, first and second, untroubled at the moment. Gunning is going to defend to the inside line to stop Sam Cunliffe coming through. But Cunliffe is fighting back, and he's now in fourth position, as we know, trying to get one over on Callum Gunning. Graham and Reid, 1 and 2. Gunning still holds on the third position. Cunliffe is again sent to the far side. There's not a lot he can do but tuck back in for the chicane. But Gunning is defending beautifully. Cunliffe may get a chance to sprint out of turn 8 and go for the dive on the inside, but Gunning defends. He's going to be vulnerable on the exit. Cunliffe may get a chance to switch back, but up front it is Harry Graham who's going to make it 2 wins out of 2, and Harry Graham has done it again. Second place for Reid, third for Callum Gunning, just hanging on in front of Cunliffe, Huntley and Harvey. 7th place for Baldry in front of Taylor, Davison and Morgan Cole. But for 2 races in a row, it is Harry Graham who's done it again, as Alicia Barmowski follows Louis Ross home to become the first rookie across the line. But so far this weekend, whoever has won the first race has won the second. Stevens won 2 cadets races, but Harry Graham makes it 2 out of 2 and 3 in a row. Brilliant racing and a fantastic run this is from Harry Graham to get his championship assault right back on top form. And Harry Graham has done the business here at the front of the field. A great result from the drivers in the top 3. A great run as they come through. A nice wave from Toby Bob as they pass my position, and from Morgan Cole. A brilliant job and a great run there. Fantastic racing from the guys in position there. And a great performance. Great job from the drivers as they come through. And great to see the juniors all in good spirits, but for the second time in a row, it is a victory for Harry Graham, and very well deserved it was too. Terrific racing, a great result. Very tough battling from each of the drivers in that particular field. The juniors, again, as we've always said, they always give you value for money. And they've done so again here in beautiful racing conditions here at Fulbeck. The sun is very bright and shining now. And great to see so many drivers pushing very hard indeed for a good result. So the juniors have been absolutely spectacular here today, and no doubt they will continue to do so for the remainder of the day. But it's 2 wins out of 2 for Harry Graham, and that's big points in the Junior Championship. He'll be very happy with that one indeed, as we continue on into the Elites up next. And it's going to be an interesting one after that first race, but Sam Faulkner clearly not needing any testing yesterday to be right up at the sharp end once again, and it's now up to the likes of Richard Evans and Matthew Pearce to see if they can move further forward. Well, what a fantastic battle it's going to be in the 2018 BIRELART UK Series Elites for the second race of the weekend. And it will be a very interesting battle. Very sad to see Dave Burns on the stands there as he watches. He's clearly decided enough is enough. He's worked so hard this weekend to be on full fitness. But if you're not feeling it, there is no point to push it. And fair play to Dave. He gave it his best in warm-up and qualifying. But if the pace isn't there and he's not feeling right, then you really shouldn't be pushing it to the limit of your ability when there is a bit of a restriction in terms of what your ability can unlock. And he's done a very good job considering. So fair play to Dave. Rest easy, mate. And I'm sure you'll be at full fitness in 2 weeks from now at Wilton Mill. But the Elites are up next. And Sam Faulkner comes into this one having won the heat and looking very, very difficult to beat despite the lack of testing in the pre-final. It will be a tough one But clearly the elites have already laid a bit of a ground for the rest of the weekend. And Richard Evans looks like he is going to be the closest opposition in the early stages to Sam Faulkner. But don't count out Matthew Pearce to fight his way further back after that little mistake in race one. He will be fighting forward, and there's still a good chance for him to make his way back into a decent position once again. But this is the elites. Anything can and probably will happen.
Hi, I'm Tom Ingham and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Jacques Villeneuve. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Bruno Senna. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Chris Hoy, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Landon Norris, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
You're listening to Race Day Live on Downforce UK, brought to you by Clapham North MOT, Motorsport Days Live, Stopwatch Hospitality, and Trade Price Cars.
Hard to predict how the elites are going to battle out for the remainder of this weekend, because we've obviously got Sam Faulkner at the sharp end, but the likes of Richard Evans very close to him at that end of the race there, making up a lot of the ground lost initially from qualifying. So if Evans gets a good start, then this race weekend could be a very different story. Great to see Michael Roots charging his way forward after that clumsy end to the race for Tyrone Stansfield and an impediment of the race for Sam Dimolo, as both of those drivers are now playing catch-up for the rest of the weekend. But it will be interesting to see how they fight their way forward. Obviously, we know how fast Tyrone Stansfield can be. He was battling for pole position in the earlier qualifying session, so I don't think that's going to perturb him. I think he's going to just continue on, shrug it off, get back on the horse and fight forward once more, as he always does. He's very, very good at fighting back through adversity. And it would not surprise me in the least to see him back in the top six by the end of this race. 10 minutes on the clock plus one lap for the elite field. And obviously the drivers just getting themselves into position. It's obviously they've got to pace themselves here, because they don't just want to get straight into the karts and get straight back on with it, because obviously they've got to sit in the karts for a few minutes yet before they get sent out onto the circuit once more. And it's incredibly hot here at Fulbeck now. We're looking at 22, 23 degrees. The back of my neck is slowly starting to cook. So if there are any cannibals around, don't come near me. I'm probably far too tempting. Anyway, the drivers at the far end of the pit lane dais are looking for an opportunity to get a good start. And Michael Roots, having made good progress up into third position, will definitely be one to watch in this, because he's going to have a lot of good racing to come. But with the likes of Harry Barlow and Tom Massaralla finishing strong in that previous race as well in the top six, they're full of confidence. George Friday, the birthday boy, having a really strong run here in the first race as well, right in the mix of that top six and fighting his way further forward. So we'll see quite a lot of battles in this one as the drivers try to make progress. Particularly watch for Sam Dimolo and Tyrone Stansfield as they come back through the field again. They'll be wanting to put some good overtaking moves on in the early stages of this race. And on this first lap, you can make up quite a lot of progress just by being very confident in how you position the cars in the braking zones for those chicanes and just outsmarting your opposition. That first lap's very tight. You want to stay out of trouble wherever you possibly can, but there are a few drivers with steely nerve and full confidence who can just line up the kart very nicely into those braking zones, particularly for turns 1 and turn 5, the first apex of those chicanes, where they can really put in a good position and make up 2 or 3 positions on the road. So it's always going to be interesting to see how Stansfield and Dimolo deal with that little early setback, because they'll charge their way forward and make up good progress without any hesitation at all. They will not finish as low down as they are going to start this one. Unfortunate that they came together at turn 9 in that previous heat, but that is ancient history as far as they are concerned. The one to watch for me in this race, well, as far as I'm concerned, it's Richard Evans, really. That start is going to be critical, and he knows how to get the lead here at Fulbeck. He's done it before. He's led here and won here in the past. So this is going to be an interesting run for him. It's all about whether he can beat Sam Faulkner off the line effectively. And if he can control the pace, or at least stay with him in the early stages, then he basically allows Sam Faulkner to do all the hard work. Faulkner will do all the damage to his tyres and obviously work the kart more. If Evans can just sit behind him and allow Faulkner to do all the intense work through the aerodynamic draw, then basically he can set him up for a move in the final couple of laps and take a very useful victory at this stage of the championship. So I think a lot of this race is going to come down to what Evans can do in those first couple of corners and then initially those first couple of laps. And that's going to be whether Sam Faulkner can be beaten or not. So far, the number one is P1 in the championship standings. Has had a really good run. But he is beatable. We have seen that before. So there is a lot of drivers trying to get there and a lot of drivers with a good opportunity to make their play. But thus far, at the top step of each podium, at Landau and Clay Pigeon, it has still been the number one, Sam Faulkner. So it's time to see who can topple him. Champion of the elites last year. But then, of course, we have two other champions in this grid. Let's not forget that. We have the Masters champion, Sam Dimolo, and the junior champion from last year, Tyrone Stansfield. Interestingly, it was those two who collected each other in that prior race. So the champions always very close together in this grid. But then, of course, you have the likes of the Grand Masters Brigade. No Neil Fisher this weekend, sadly. Hopefully he'll be back in 2 weeks' time at Wilton Mill. But it is rather ironic that I've noticed quite a few drivers in this field who are on the sidelines for various different reasons. Obviously, we've already talked about Dave Burns. I've spotted Jim Rainbird, who is actually mechanicking for Michael Roots this weekend rather than racing himself. And what on earth does Elliot Stanley think he's doing not in a racing car? That's not right. He should be on the grid as well. But for some reason, he's taken this weekend to do some spannering as well. There are a few other missing faces, of course, from the dais this weekend as well. Matt Ogle is, of course, absent this weekend because he is on his work duty as the race engineer for the Carlin Formula 3 team with his main man Fenastras doing a reasonably good job over at the Hungaroring in Budapest this weekend. I'm not going to spoil the results for you if you haven't seen. All I'm going to say is the Brits have done quite well, and that's in the DTM as well. So definitely lots of Union Jacks flying in Budapest this weekend. But obviously the Victory Dais is being prepared for our drivers here. And that podium that's there in the holding area looking very inviting for a lot of the drivers in the elites as they get themselves ready for action once again. But it's going to be a long road to get there, and it will be very, very tough to see who gets to the top of that dais first, with the elites getting themselves prepared. The whistle is not far away now as the time ticks down, and we are just 2 minutes, not even in fact, 2 minutes away from this pre-final for the elites, and the races after that will be the finals in each category, the big point scorers and the ones that will really help the championship tally of each of the individual drivers in each of the three classes. Sam Faulkner, one of the very last to take to the kart. Notably, actually, both Faulkner and Evans very late to their karts. They don't want to sit in it too long in this heat. But it does look as though this summer is going to be a particular scorcher of one. So the drivers are doing their very best wherever they can just to stay cool. But it's always a very difficult one when you're sat in the holding area, ready to go, in full suit, balaclava, boots, helmet. It's always very, very tough. And the drivers have obviously got to bear that into mind when they're doing their physical fitness. I was just watching Tyrone Stansfield's Instagram in the break, actually. He's been doing an awful lot of race prep with his personal trainer to get him up to speed. It's amazing how seriously these guys take this as the National BIRELART UK Championship, of course. They want to be at their top level. And it's always good to see how much these drivers want to dedicate to it. The whistle goes, Megan blows it at the end of the pits. The engines go on. We wait for the green flag to drop. And when it does, we will be racing here at Clay Pigeon for the second time for the elites, for the sixth time in total. And as the green flag flies, Sam Faulkner versus Richard Evans will begin. So they pass my position here at the final corner and get up to speed here at Fulbeck. Tyrone Stansfield with a brand new front end. One of the last to go out. Jason Bradbury likewise. It looks like somebody has not made it out of the pits though. Will Checkley does get started, and it was Aaron Banks who really struggled to get going, but now he has got going himself, so he should be able to take up his position on the starting grid. But it's going to be Faulkner, Evans, Roots, Barlow, Massarella and Yeomans at the front end of the field, with three big names out of position. Matthew Pearce, who slipped to 10th, Sam Dimolo, who slipped to 11th, and Tyrone Stansfield, who failed to finish along with Jason Bradbury. So that's going to be a really interesting battle between these guys as they race for supremacy. And the battle between them is going to be quite intense. That's Aaron Banks, Tyrone Stansfield and Jason Bradbury, all a bit delayed. Will Checkley likewise a bit delayed coming out of the pits. So they're going to have to form up fairly early and get themselves into their positions quite quickly and very slowly round for these guys to catch up to them. But I think they should do that. So Faulkner and Evans, Roots and Barlow, Massarella and Yeomans, Hitch and Pierce, 7th and 8th in the end. Walden and Friday in the top 10. Dimolo will line up alongside Mark Lawrence. Then it will be Sean Port and Aaron Banks. David Darling and Will Checkley. Then it will be Tyrone Stansfield and Jason Bradbury. So I think Aaron Banks is actually going to have to take up residency at the very back of the grid. He's going to try and slot himself into position. There might just be time. Are they going to go round again, we're told? Yeah, they are going to go round one more time, and that is to give Aaron Banks a chance to get into his allotted grid position. So the drivers will go around one more time as Bradbury and Stansfield get themselves back up to speed again. They will need to, because obviously there's a bit of a tight run to that first corner now. They were told in drivers' briefing this morning, of course, that if any driver cuts across the chicane for any reason, then they will be docked one lap. So obviously all of the drivers are doing very much they can to make sure that that is not going to happen. And so far in the races, that has not happened. So good to see that the drivers are keeping it nice and tidy. Sam Faulkner and Richard Evans from the front of the grid. Michael Roots and Harry Barlow from the second row. Tom Massarella in there with his close rival in this race, Ben Yeomans. Then Hitch, Pierce, Walden, Friday, Dimolo. Mark Lawrence in there as well from Aaron Banks and Sean Port. Then it's going to be David Darling, Will Checkley, Tyrone Stansfield and Jason Bradbury. So as the drivers get themselves up to speed, this is going to be an interesting battle. They know it. They're going to have to work hard for this one. Everybody's going to want a good race start. So the waves will rise. The drivers are in position. The lights are going out now. We're racing in the elites for the second time today. And already Sam Dimolo looks to be making a few moves. There's a couple of drivers up and over. One of them's had to overshoot at the chicane. So that's already looking likely a penalty going to the first driver. Goodness me, I thought we were going to get away without. But so far it is Sam Faulkner who leads the way from Michael Roots, who's straight through and into the lead. Michael Roots takes the lead here from Sam Faulkner. So Roots is through, Faulkner in a second. What has happened to the man who started with him, Richard Evans? Evans has dropped back a long way. Faulkner takes the lead back from Michael Roots. So Faulkner's into the lead once more from Roots. Then it is Barlow. Matthew Pierce is up to 4th place. What a start from Matthew Pierce. Fifth is Massarella from Hitch, Walden, Dimolo, Port and Evans. Way down in 10th position. So, a very hectic start here in the elites. Goodness me, a real shuffle of the deck in the top 10. But Matthew Pierce way up in a 4th position. What a start from Pierce. And Evans unfortunately impeded, dropping down to 10th place. But it's a lead so far from the man in first position, Sam Faulkner with Roots right behind him. Third is your man, Harry Barlow from Pierce, Massarella, Hitch, Walden, Dimolo, Evans, Port, Friday and Yeomans. Then it is 230 Mark Lawrence from Banks, Checkley, Darling, Bradbury and Tyrone Stansfield, who's really struggling to make progress at the moment. So Faulkner and Roots are out in front. They've broken clear of Harry Barlow and Matthew Pierce, giving chase further back. 8 minutes and 21 on the clock. This is going to be a very tough race between them and they know it. But out in front, no major problems for Faulkner and Roots. They are the two who have come to battle here. So, just as we thought it was going to be Richard Evans challenging Faulkner for the win, it is Michael Roots who is going to give it to Sam Faulkner in the early stages here. He's risen to the challenge and is putting Faulkner under some massive pressure. So Roots is going for it with every single ounce of fibre of his being. As Dan Walden is defending from Richard Evans at the moment, as they battle away for 7th and 8th. They have moved their way forward. Dimolo is 9th. Then it's Port, Friday. A couple of drivers appear to have lost some ground. Oh, it's Ben Yeomans. Yeomans is down at the back of the field. Yeomans looks like he's touring in to retire. Ben Yeomans with problems, and that's a real shame for the man who took the victory here, don't forget, last year. Yeomans was the winner in the Masters last year. Now, Ben Yeoman's the 199 is out of the race. Well, that is a real shame, but it's still Faulkner and Roots battling away for the victory up front. Roots is going for it. Harry Barlow in third position in front of Matthew Pearce. Pearce is looking good for the move, but Barlow is holding him at bay for the moment. Here comes George Friday, a move on the inside of Sean Paul. Has to be abandoned. What a great race nonetheless from everybody as they continue to sweep along for position. Harry Barlow still in third, in front of Pearce, Massarella and Ben Hitch. Then it's Dan Walden, Richard Evans and Sam Dimolo from Port, Friday, Lawrence, Banks, Checkley, Bradbury. And now Darling being caught by Tyrone Stansfield, who seems to have got himself up to speed again. And it looks as though there's a penalty being handed out to somebody. Not sure who it is. I couldn't see where it was from my position, unfortunately. We'll try and pick it up later. But Faulkner is your leader. Second place to Michael Roots. Then it is the third place man, Barlow, in front of Matthew Pearce, who's hoping to be the third place. Oh, Matthew Pearce's airbox is falling off. Matthew Pearce has lost his airbox as he goes for third position. Matthew Pearce has lost his airbox and is out of the race. Unbelievable. Matthew Pearce is out of it. That is an absolute disaster for Matthew Pearce, having had an amazing ride back, an incredible start. His airbox has come off up at turn 9. It's there on the outside. It's a disaster. Matthew Pearce's airbox parts company with the car up at turn 9 as he's making the move for third place. His race is over. Disaster for Matthew Pearce. Well, Faulkner's starting to break through of Roots. Now we've got Barlow, Massarella, Hitch and Evans in the top 6. So Evans is fighting his way back. But now we've got Barlow, Massarella, Hitch and Evans in the mix. Then we have Walden and Dimolo. Sean Paul's having a good battle with George Friday and Mark Lawrence. Then Aaron Banks. And then we've got the fighting forward of Will Checkley, Tyrone Stansfield, Jason Bradbury and David Darling. An amazing struggle all the way through the field here. But unfortunately it is two big names that have fallen by the wayside in this early stage of the race. We've lost both Ben Yeomans and Matthew Pearce in the first half of the race. Absolutely devastating for those two top level drivers in this championship. But look at Sam Faulkner, he's jogging away. Oh, and that's a big problem for Dan Walden. Walden has had to go through the chicane. So Dan Walden, he has got back onto the circuit in behind Ben Hitch. But it looks to me as though Dan Walden is going to pick up a bit of a problem there. So Dan Walden had to cut through the chicane. He's locked himself back in behind Ben Hitch and in front of Sam Dimolo. So I have a feeling that Dan Walden is going to get a little bit of a ticking off on the stewards there. We did say this morning in the drivers' briefing that drivers will be docked a lap if they go across the chicane for any reason. Now Walden gave back the position he gained, but I don't know whether that's going to be enough to get away with it. Faulkner leading, Roots second, Barlow third, Massarella fourth from Evans, Hitch, Walden and Dimolo. Then it is George Friday in front of Sean Pearl, Mark Lawrence, Aaron Banks, Tyrone Stansfield, and then we've got Will Checkley. Jason Bradbury goes for the move on Will Checkley with the hairpin and he's got through. So very nicely done there. And it looks as though there's going to be a penalty. Yes, there is a penalty handed out to the 241 of Dan Walden. That is a shame. He knows he's going to lose the lap there. And that's a real shame because there really wasn't anything they could do about that one. But they did say this morning, if you cut the chicane, you will lose a lap. It's as simple as that. So here is Faulkner, Faulkner, Roots. And then Dimolo is in 8th position behind Dan Walden on the road, although he will be promoted to 7th. Evans makes the move on Massarella. Evans is through, up into 4th place now. So Richard Evans is fighting back brilliantly. Faulkner is your leader, Roots in 2nd, 3rd is Barlow and 4th is Evans. Then it's Massarella, Ben Hitch, Dan Walden, Sam Dimolo, George Friday, then Sean Paul, Mark Lawrence, Aaron Banks, Tyrone Stansfield going through the field well. Now he's making his move on Banks. Has to hang back and wait for another chance. Then it's Bradbury, Checkley and David Darling. But out in front, Sam Faulkner has once again got into that rhythm he finds so smooth, so comfortable. And it looks to me as though Faulkner's going to make it 2 out of 2 here in the Elites pre-final. But Michael Roots is going to be alongside him on that front row of the grid after a stellar run. Barlow, Evans, Massarella, third, fourth, fifth at the moment. Then it's Ben Hitch, Weldon, Dimolo, Friday and Sean Port. Now we've got Mark Lawrence being caught rapidly by Tyrone Stansfield. He's doing his best to work through the field. And he's going to get a good run on Mark Lawrence out of the final turn here. Here comes Stansfield. He's got good speed on Lawrence. Will he get him into the first chicane? No, he's got to wait for another opportunity. Probably into the second hairpin. But things are going great for Sam Faulkner out in front. He leads the chicane just as Michael Roots is into the second apex of it. So Faulkner through in the lead. There's Roots in second. There is Barlow and Evans battling for third with Tom Massarella. Then it is Hitch, Walden and Dimolo, Friday and Port. Stansfield has got past Lawrence now. He's through past Banks and Bradbury. Checkley and Darling follow the rest of the field round. But Richard Evans is really in Harry Barlow, looking for a way to get into third place. Barlow, a quick look over his shoulder, doesn't want to let Evans come through. Right, left, right through the first chicane, up to the far end of the circuit, into the hairpin. Barlow hangs on a third for the moment, but Evans is getting very hungry indeed. Sat there in fourth position, wanting to move up another place. Faulkner is still your leader as they go into turn 8. Roots is still there in second. Then it's Barlow, Evans and Massarella. Barlow and Evans have got a little way clear of Massarella, but not quite enough yet to make the overtaking move. So now Richard Evans is hot on the heels of Barlow as they continue to battle away. He's trying to see a few more battles out there. Sean Port looks back and realises that Tyrone Stansfield is closing him down. Just under a minute to go, plus that extra lap of course. You've got to take that into consideration as Jason Bradbury is caught right up to the back of Aaron Banks as they fly past the final turn. Will Sheckley and David Darling having a good fight towards the back. But Sam Faulkner hopping over the curves through the chicanes, continuing on his great run here as he looks for another victory, having won race 1. Now looking to continue the job as Sam Faulkner continues on his way. Michael Roots in second place. Third position is Barlow, but fourth is Massarella. Massarella is through into fourth place, past Evans. Then it is Hitch, Walden and Dimolo. So some absolutely terrific racing as Sam Faulkner goes into the penultimate lap of the race. So Faulkner has one lap to go after this one. And it's going to be a good run to the flag for him. Not a bad run from Michael Roots either, let's be fair to him. In second place, he gave a very good opening gambit there to the man in the lead, Sam Faulkner. He tried his best. Is that Massarella in the third? It is! Tom Massarella has fought through to third place. So Massarella's going to third, and now Barlow's trying to shake off Richard Evans as they battle over fourth place. But Massarella is through to third position. A really good battle this is. Barlow now has fourth place from Evans. Hitch is in there in sixth position. Then it is Walden, Dimolo, Friday, Port and Stansfield. If Stansfield can make the top 10, that would be a great achievement considering how far back it is. But we're into the last lap. And this is going to be a lovely end to the run for Sam Faulkner, who's done as hard a job as he possibly can. He's worked very hard in this race. He knows how tough it's been. But into the final couple of corners for Sam Faulkner. He won the heat. Now he's going to win the pre-final and set himself up for a hat-trick. A brilliant run here for Sam Faulkner. Michael Roots in second position and Tom Massarella in third, but that's the way it finishes at the flag. Sam Faulkner has done it again with a checkered flag. Brilliant result. Michael Roots in second place, a third place for Massarella in front of Harry Barlow, Richard Evans and Ben Hitch. A great drive from Ben Hitch. Then it is Dan Walden on the road in front of Sam Dimolo, George Friday, Sean Ford just in front of Tyrone Stansfield, and then right up to the end, it's Mark Lawrence from Aaron Banks, Jason Bradbury, Will Checkley and David Darling. So a terrific race and a great battle, but it's Sam Faulkner all the way so far, having had a terrific run here. A brilliant result from Sam Faulkner to make it 2 out of 3. A great job and a sensational run from the guys out in position. The checkered flag comes back in earnest for the drivers in position. And a nice position for all of the drivers there in the top 6. So a very interesting race battle from the drivers there. Having had a tough run and a great battle. but a very tight battle in the elites. A lot of hard work out there for the drivers. They've really had to work very hard indeed, as Matthew Pearce rather regrettably having to run back for his airbox up at turn 9. Such a cruel way for his race to end, when he'd broken into third position too and was looking likely to close up on Michael Roots. So big names to fall though, Ben Yeomans and Matthew Pearce within the first 5 minutes of that elite pre-final. So he definitely sets us up for an interesting encounter, but not necessarily the one that either of those two really wanted, because they obviously wanted to be a little bit further up the dais by the end of the race meeting. But circumstances have taken that kind of opportunity away from them, unfortunately. So now it's just a question of seeing what happens after that point, because there's been some really exciting battles in the heats and pre-finals in each of our 3 classes. But now we have just 1 race to go in each of our classes, and they are the finals in the BIRELART UK series, for the cadets first, then the juniors and the elites. And it's been a very exciting battle for each of the drivers in our little spread of competition here. They've all put on a sensational performance so far today. Great clean racing throughout. But now this is the race that will decide the podium ceremonies later on for each of our classes in the cadets, juniors and elites. And this is the final race. It's going to be a tough one for a lot of the drivers out there. In the cadets, it's already looking fairly clear-cut, but that doesn't mean it's already done and dusted. We've got quite a few drivers out there looking very, very close run. So it will be a tough battle. But this is the battle we've got coming up in front of us. We'll take a short pause and then we'll come back to the action, when the finals will give us an absolutely incredible run to the victory lane.
Hi, I'm Tom Ingham and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Jacques Villeneuve. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Bruno Senna. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Chris Hoy, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Landon Norris, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.